Smith Show starts right now.
What's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio and Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Lots to get into today. A fantastic game at the Oracle last night in Golden State. A good game that I'm expecting tonight, game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Toronto Raptors. Of course, Deontay Wilder made news. The WBC, the reigning WBC heavyweight champion of the world, made news on First Take just the other day and then reiterated his comments yesterday right here over the airwaves of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio, talking about he wanted to kill this dude that he's about to get into the ring Saturday night at the Barclays Center against Dominic Brazil. So we'll talk about that as the show progresses today. But the one thing that I wanted to get into, is scintillating as these playoffs are, and they've been very, very impressive. I miss LeBron James. I don't know how many others do, though. As we watch these playoffs unfold and we see the Greek Freak and we see Kawhi Leonard and we saw Kawhi Leonard against Joel Embiid and those boys in Philadelphia in the second round, and we're watching Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum go up against the Golden State Warriors that knocked out James Harden and CP3 in 6 games in the Western Conference semifinals. I miss LeBron James. I think we all should miss LeBron James, because when I listened to the Greek Freak in his comments yesterday about how the path to prosperity in the Eastern Conference would have been considerably more difficult if LeBron James was here, I think he was telling the absolute truth. Because the fact of the matter is, if LeBron was in the Eastern Conference and Milwaukee had to go through them, I don't know if Milwaukee would beat them. I don't know if Toronto, even with Kawhi Leonard, would have beaten LeBron James if he was still with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know that. I truly, truly don't know that. And I don't think anybody can definitively say that LeBron James would have fallen, because there's been no evidence over the previous 8 years to prove such a thing. Now, he got hurt with the Lakers last year, and he had the groin injury and what have you, and missed 17 consecutive games. And I think people have lost their damn minds when they talk about him like he's not that formidable any longer. LeBron James still averaged 27. He was still balling. He's still capable of putting up those numbers anytime he needs to put up those numbers. I don't think those things can be ignored. But the reason why I start off today's show alluding to LeBron James is for a different kind of reason. It has me thinking about free agency, because usually for the last several years, because he was signing deals with 1-year opt-outs and stuff like that, even though he didn't do that with his last deal with Cleveland, the reality is that as we looked at LeBron James, particularly last summer, wondering where he was going to go, although most of us assumed that he would end up in L.A., this summer is going to be entirely different, because it's not about what LeBron James is going to do in terms of where he's going to go. It's about whether or not he's going to get anybody to come with him to LA. And believe it or not, they're not just competing with the Los Angeles Clippers. They're also competing with the New York Knicks. And so when we look at it right now, and this injury, this calf injury that most of us thought was an Achilles injury to Kevin Durant, is unfolding before our very eyes. When you have people like me over the airwaves on the record publicly stating that in the event that Kevin Durant is unable to come back for the rest of these playoffs, that the Golden State Warriors will not three-peat, that the Milwaukee Bucks, who I believe are going to beat Toronto and meet Golden State in the NBA Finals, will upend and knock off the Golden State Warriors. I firmly believe that. If they don't have Kevin Durant. If they do have Kevin Durant, the Warriors win the title. And so now that begs a whole bunch of questions. First of all, if Kevin Durant isn't able to come back for these playoffs, and we find out that the injury is far more severe than any of us anticipated, does Kevin Durant maintain the same level of value than he would have if he were healthy. I'm here to tell you, if you're the New York Knicks, you're damn right he does. Maybe if you're not the Los Angeles Lakers, because that's the year that you're asking LeBron James to wait, and that's not good. So a Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis via a trade, a Kyrie Irving coming to the Lakers and being ready to ball immediately might have an elevated level of value over a Kevin Durant who wouldn't be available next season. I'm taking worst case scenario, of course, because that's not anticipated. The Golden State Warriors are still hopeful that Kevin Durant can come back for the finals, but we just don't know right now. They could be lying. It couldn't be a calf. It might be an Achilles, or it may very well be a calf injury that just needs time to heal. From what I'm hearing, Kevin Durant is looking better. He was seen walking around yesterday and standing in the hallways post-game without any crutches or anything like that. So who knows? He might be okay. But here's the point that I'm trying to make. And it's a point that I think is worth visiting. When it comes to the New York Knicks, not the Lakers, because LeBron is there. And every single game and every single month and every single season counts, significantly so. But as it pertains to the New York Knicks, I want to make sure I'm stating my position very, very clearly. If you are the New York Knicks, even if the news came down that Kevin Durant was not available for the entire 2019-2020 NBA season, and we have no reason to believe that's going to happen, but I'm just taking worst case scenario. If you told me right now that Kevin Durant was not available for the entire 2019-2020 NBA season, you know what my response to you is? So, I don't give a damn. You still give him max dollars. I don't care if you got to hire a massage therapist, a masseuse, somebody to do pedicures, somebody to give him bubble baths, somebody to carry his bags, somebody to do his, I don't give a damn what you got to do. You get Kevin Durant, even if it meant waiting an entire year for him to play for you, meaning through next season. If they came to me right now, and I was a member of the New York Knicks, I was the president Steve Mills, I was the GM Scott Perry, if I was James Dolan himself, and you said to me, Kevin Durant is not available until October of 2020, I'm telling you right now, I'm still giving Kevin Durant the max. Without blinking, without hesitation. And I'll give you several reasons why. Number one, I probably ain't getting Kawhi Leonard. Number two, Kyrie by himself doesn't cut it for me, nor Kemba Walker. I don't have a shot at Klay Thompson, okay? Kawhi Leonard ain't thinking about coming to me. He's going to the Clippers or he's staying in Toronto. He'd probably consider the Brooklyn Nets before he considered me if I was the Knicks. Kevin Durant is my hope. He's the closest thing to a savior since Patrick Ewing was drafted in 1985 for the New York Knicks. Kevin Durant is the closest thing to a savior the New York Knicks organization will have ever had since Patrick Ewing. That's how significant he is. And I challenge anybody to tell me otherwise. Who have you had since it? Bernard King was a damn good player. We know they weren't going anywhere at that particular moment in time. Then comes Patrick Ewing. After Patrick Ewing, who did you have? Stephon Marbury. You had Carmelo Anthony. None of them were considered saviors. You thought that they would come here and provide some level of excellence that would propel the New York Knicks to a postseason berth. But that was about it. You didn't expect anything from them. You didn't think they could do what you'll look for Kevin Durant to do. Not to mention the fact that whether it's Kyrie, it's Anthony Davis, or a plethora of other people, who minds playing with Kevin Durant? Who minds playing with Kevin Durant? He is, without question, the most deferential superstar we may have ever seen. Career 49% shooter from the field. Career 38% shooter from three-point range. Career 27-point per game scorer who religiously is willing to defer to others just to play team basketball. He's that great. He's that great. And if I got an opportunity to get Kevin Durant, I'm sorry. Would I wait for him? You're damn right I would. I wouldn't think twice about it. Not even a little bit. And I'm telling you something right now. New York Knicks fans, don't mess this up. I have recovered, not my voice, because it's still in recovery, but everything else about me has pretty much recovered from what transpired on that night of the NBA draft lottery. When the NBA, the National Basketball Association main office, didn't have the decency to rig the damn NBA draft lottery so the New York Knicks could get the #1 overall pick instead of the New Orleans Pelicans. And oh, by the way, I'm here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, site of the Eastern Conference Finals. And last night in the hotel, I'm sitting there watching the Portland Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors, and what a hell of a game that was. I'm watching it with Charles Barkley and the TNT crew. Kenny Smith was in Chicago at the pre-draft camp. I don't know where the hell Shaq was. But me, Barkley, Ernie Johnson, and the crew, we were all watching it. I had a blast. And that damn Charles Barkley, first thing he did was try to get on me because, oh my goodness, I'm rooting for the New York Knicks to get Zion Williamson. What's the big deal? You want all of these big markets and blah, blah, blah. I said, Barkley, shut the hell up. I can say that to my brother, my friend. Shut the hell up. Just because everybody ain't from Leeds, Alabama, ain't no reason for you to be hating on the big cities. I'm from New York City, baby. And the bottom line is my New York Knicks, as a New York Knicks fan, we have suffered. The level of cruelty that has been accorded to Knicks fans the world over is almost unprecedented. The New York Knicks have perpetually stunk. They have been a laughingstock, an embarrassment, the bane of our existence. Pick your poison. The level of torture that New York Knicks organization has subjected the fan base to, particularly over the past 20 years, is so criminal, so reprehensible. One would argue that from a basketball sense, if it were a crime to tease or to bother or to agitate Knicks fans, James Dolan should have been incarcerated years ago. If that were a crime. Because that's the level of cruelty that we have been subjected to as New York Knicks fans. And damn it, I'm not going to take it anymore. So we have hope. And the hope is Kevin Durant. It is time that we come to this conclusion. The hope is Kevin Durant. It's not just because of his arrival. It's because of what his arrival will breed. Who's not going to want to come and play with Kevin Durant? Who's not going to want to come and play with Kevin Durant in Madison Square Garden if that were to happen? We have to hope, ladies and gentlemen. And if the New York Knicks had gotten the #1 overall pick and Zion Williamson was coming to the Garden, or you're going to use him as trade bait to ultimately acquire Anthony Davis, the New York Knicks' future would be so bright. A city of 8.5 million plus people would have been in an uproar. It would have been great for the NBA. It would have been great to have a basketball team in the Mecca that ain't off Atlantic Avenue with a bunch of standstill traffic going on. The Brooklyn Nets have done an outstanding job. Sean Marks should be very, very proud. So should Kenny Atkinson. And until D'Angelo Russell got caught being Idiot of the Year by trying to sneak some contraband in a bottle through LaGuardia Airport, the Brooklyn Nets were practically flawless this year in terms of their effort, in terms of what their level of production was, and what hope they gave the city of New York. But we all know Brooklyn ain't really the city. We love Brooklyn, just like I'm from Queens. But the city is Manhattan. It's the site of Madison Square Garden. That's where the Mecca is. And the level, the quality of basketball that we have been subjected to is reprehensible. It's an abomination. It's an absolute embarrassment. So we know what it is. And we have to accept it. But I am telling you right now, KD is the key. And why is this relevant? Because last night, while Steph Curry was putting on his latest show, reminding us all why he's the greatest shooter on the planet, the greatest shooter that we've ever seen in the game of basketball, and the Golden State Warriors are just playing lights out. Let me tell y'all something right now. This foolery where people are acting like, oh my God, the Golden State Warriors may be better without Kevin Durant. Have you lost your ever-loving minds? Have you lost your ever-loving minds? He's Kevin Durant. Y'all know who he is. You know who he is. He's Kevin Durant. No, you're not better without him. You have to do other things. A collective assemblage of bodies have to come through for you. And that's a testament to Steve Kerr and his coaching staff for having these brothers prepared. Kevon Looney hit all 6 of his shots last night. And oh, by the way, y'all keep sleeping on Draymond Green all you want to. Draymond Green is a special, special player, particularly when he's composed and he's not getting technicals. Draymond Green is special. Draymond Green, I want y'all to sit, before y'all want to sit up there and be like, he all right, he all right. Think about all the things that he does on the basketball court. Did you watch him? If you watched this game last night, did you see Draymond Green grab rebounds and push the ball up the floor like a point guard? Did you see some of the passes that he was making? Did you see the plays that he was orchestrating? Draymond Green, as far as I'm concerned, if Dennis Rodman is in the Hall of Fame, y'all need to show Draymond Green some more love. Because no, he's not Rodman in terms of rebounding, but he defends, he rebounds, and he orchestrates your offense. Draymond Green is a jump shot away from being a perennial all-star player. I'm talking about looking at him and saying, this brother's special. There's something to be said about having that mindset and knowing what he knows and knowing what to do on a basketball court. And Draymond Green is a brilliant basketball player. He just hasn't shot the ball well, which is why he needs to work on his jump shot in the offseason religiously. But I'm here to tell you something right now. The lack of respect that is shown to Draymond Green, coached by the great Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and now the great Steve Kerr, because I do think we've reached a point where we have to start calling Steve Kerr great. Enough's enough. I love my brother Mark Jackson. I hate the fact that he set up the foundation for the Golden State Warriors and then was let go. As much as I love Joe Lacob, and that's my man, I love Joe Lacob. It's the only thing we disagree about. But there is no denying that Steve Kerr is great and that he's taken the bull by the horn and he's elevated the Golden State Warriors to the champions that they are. When you look at all the things that they do, Draymond and Steph and Clay looking gassed, and Portland with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and I'm talking about Leonard, and I'm talking about Evan Turner, and I'm talking about all of these other guys and Seth Curry. Oh my God. I was so proud of that young man last night, but I'll get into that in just a minute. My point is, Portland was coming and Golden State was reeling. And they were down 15, 17 points. And then they came roaring back inside of 2.5 minutes. That's how explosive they are. But Steve Kerr had to manage minutes. He had to give them the requisite rest. Know when to put them back in. Know when to amp up the pressure. Know when to dial it back. Know who to insert. Know what their job responsibilities were and how to utilize them. You can't say enough about the job that Steve Kerr has done. Just can't. You just can't. But if you think for 1 second that Draymond Green doesn't deserve credit, you should be ashamed of yourself. He is a special, special player. He doesn't look that way shooting the basketball. Did you see him driving to the lane? Off the dribble. Off the dribble. Did you see him driving to the lane? Did you see him pushing the ball up the court? Did you see his passes? Did you see how effective he was defensively along with rebounding and banging bodies when he's clearly undersized against all of these big bodies? That is Draymond Green. And a level of appreciation that is not shown to him is actually disturbing for anybody that knows basketball. It should be, because he's a brilliant basketball player. Draymond Green is a jump shot away, with healthy legs, of course. Got to have those legs healthy. But with those legs being healthy, Draymond Green is a jump shot away from being considered a healthy, a legitimate, bona fide, perennial all-star. He's that good. He's that good. But I say all of that to say, no one's KD. And if you are the Golden State Warriors, make no mistake about it, you need KD. You need KD to make sure that you win the championship. Because as great as I think Draymond is, as phenomenal as we know Steph Curry to be, as phenomenal as we know Steph Curry and Klay Thompson to be when they are shooting the basketball, you ain't beating this Milwaukee Bucks squad without KD. They're just too big. They're too big, they're too physical, and they have perimeter shots and depth. I'm telling you right now, they will wear Golden State down. It's not that they will outplay them. It's not that they will outduel them in terms of skill. They throw too many bodies at you. And I believe that because they would do that, they would wear Golden State down. and wear them out, because they don't just wear you down by running up and down the floor when they can. They wear you down by leaning on you and beating you up, because the Greek Freak is so physical. And Brook Lopez is formidable because of his height and size. And Mirotić is a 6'10 shooter. And Brogdon is now coming off the bench. And Bledsoe is physical, this physical pit bull that's going to get all up in you and under you. And Connaughton is no joke either. One of them rough and rugged individuals that you could put off the bench for 15 to 20 minutes and he could give you something. These are the kind of things that Budenholzer and those boys in Milwaukee have assembled. And because they've done that, I'm telling you right now, I believe without KD, they will wear you down. But with KD, you have somebody that can look the Greek Freak eye to eye because he's just as tall. The difference is he can pull up from 30 regularly and beat you down. That way. With KD, Golden State three-peats. Without KD, they fall to the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. Either way you slice it, to me, this is the last run for KD, because it's clearly Steph's team. They were chanting MVP, MVP, MVP. We all know that Kevin Durant is the best player on the Golden State Warriors. Why? Because he's the best player in the world. But they were chanting it because it's almost like Derek Jeter, A-Rod, except KD ain't A-Rod, because A-Rod was disliked by some. KD ain't disliked. The difference is that they drafted Steph Curry. Steph Curry is homegrown in their eyes. He's one of theirs. KD is a transplant. And because he's a transplant, he will never have the love that Steph Curry has, because Steph Curry won their first title without him. That is the reality of the situation. KD comes to New York. Where's the tradition? They haven't won a championship since 73 when Walt Clyde Frazier and Earl of Pearl Monroe was doing things. KD comes there. He makes the Garden relevant again. They'll make an avenue for him in his name. James Dolan, if he ain't good for anything else, is good for making him money. He'll turn him into a billionaire and a fan on Wall Street. Not that it's Silicon Valley, but Wall Street ain't bad. He'll own the Garden. He'll own New York. He'll own the Mecca. So with that being said, like I said, KD, no matter what it takes, if you're the New York Knicks, get him. I don't give a damn. You got to massage him every damn day. Take him to one of those parlors and have his feet scratched and pedicures done for him every damn day. I don't give a damn what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I love my job. And I pride myself on being objective and fair. But I'm going to tell you when that's going to go out the window. If KD comes to New York, there will be no bigger protector of KD than me. I have suffered. New York Knicks fans have suffered. The level of cruelty that we have been subjected to, enough's enough. And if KD is coming there, I will do everything in my power to protect him from all of you haters out there. And damn it, I was once one. I've changed. I've grown. I've matured. Whatever it takes to get KD here, I'll do it. Damn it, I'll carry his luggage to the game for him if he wants me to. Whatever it takes. But even with all of that being said, I still got to give love to the Golden State Warriors. I love myself some Draymond Green, man. I love the way he played last night. I was so proud of him. But I was even more proud of Seth Curry. You're a Curry. I was getting ready to tweet, what the hell are you doing? Why are you not shooting the ball enough? What the hell's going on? Get it together. You're a Curry. Your father made a name for himself by shooting from the damn parking lot when he was a player. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we've ever seen. You can't be a Curry and not shoot the ball. And then sure enough, that kid started jacking up shots. Ended up hitting 5 and 9 shots, 4 3-pointers. And I'm talking about big shots. The Curry family, as classy as they come. I think unquestionably the first family of the NBA right now. And I have to confess, maybe it sounds inappropriate. My God, their mother she's so beautiful. Words can't even describe. And Del Curry's a good man. Let me tell you something. They're the first family of the NBA right now. Seth Curry playing last night, I was proud. I was incredibly, incredibly proud of that young man. But Portland blew it. And I'll explain why in just a minute. 888 say ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, the Stephen A. Smith Show is brought to you by Barbasol. For the past 100 years, generations of men have trusted Barbasol shaving cream to deliver a close, comfortable shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol. That was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Keep that tune. Keep the station dial right here. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
I'm of the thought, and I'll be the first one to admit too, I was right with you, and we talked about this on this show probably last year. I did not believe Tiger could win another major, but I believe that he could win golf tournaments. When he won the Masters in April, I'll be the first one to admit, as a guy who caddied on the PGA Tour for 10 years, when he hugged Joe LaCava and then pushed him away and yelled at him, "We did it," man, tears flowed for me, man. I'm not going to lie, because I understand what it took for him and for Joe. You got to remember, Joe sat at home for 8 months with dudes calling, "Hey, man, come caddy for me, come caddy for me." Nah, I'm good. I'll wait for my boy. So that kind of belief in your player, and then seeing Tiger breaking through. The other thing that hit me the hardest was when I was leaving the Masters, there were two brothers that was working in the media center, and they had been there for a while. And I knew them and had a relationship with these guys because I've known them for so long. And as I'm walking out, I was upstairs, and then I went downstairs to the locker room. And both guys, one was upstairs and one was downstairs, both guys looked at me and goes, "Yo, Mike, we did it." And I couldn't even speak to them because they put a big lump in my throat, because that's what it felt like. It felt like they said, "We did it again."
But here, let me interject. But my point is that if you're holding on to that emotion, then why do you believe why do you not believe he's going to catch Jack Nicklaus?
Just because I'm friends with somebody and I believe and was emotionally invested in what they were doing at the time, it would be dishonest of me not to tell the truth about.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying because guys like Brooks Koepka are out here. Look, nothing feels better for a golfer or any athlete whatsoever. If you're going to get a chance to beat a dude when he's at his best, that feels better than beating a guy when he's hurt or when he's not playing good.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Biggie. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, presented by Indeed. Tune in tonight for Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals as Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks host Kawhi and the Toronto Raptors. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Couple of things that I wanted to get to before we get to the phones. Last night's game. I want to take a moment to get on Damian Lillard just a little bit, because I felt that he had some responsibility in that loss. Scoreless in the first half. He tried to pull a Steph Curry. He was en route to scoring 30 in the second half himself. Like Steph Curry scored 33 in the second half in that Game 6 closeout game against Houston. Damian Lillard had 23 points in the second half. But when Portland was up about 15 or 17 or 15, I forgot which one it was, and Golden State amped it up and started making their run, Damian Lillard held onto the ball a little bit too much as far as I was concerned. He was dribbling the ball entirely too much. I know they were doubling him. I know they were trapping him. I know they were doing all of those things. I get all of that. But here's my thing, and this is why I'm going to hold him accountable. Not for the game, just that run. During that run, he could have handled that better. C.J. McCollum had actually hit a few shots prior to Golden State's run. When Golden State made the run, Damian didn't find him. And so as a result, once Golden State had gotten back into it, now CJ's cold. And CJ ends up shooting about 9 to 23 for the game, shooting 39% from the field. He's better than that. But when you got a guy like him, you got to get him the ball when he's stroking it, because that would have helped stop the bleeding. But because it didn't happen, what you had was a situation where Portland couldn't stop the bleeding because they weren't getting any points. Now, Damian Lillard hit a three from the parking lot, plus he had a nice left-handed layup. But for the most part, he didn't stop the bleeding. Everybody's looking at that last play by Andre Iguodala. First of all, Andre Iguodala played great defense on that play. I do not believe he fouled him because Damian Lillard had stretched his left arm out to ward him off. So I think that with a referee in that situation, that invites contact, and you got to let them play. And plus, he stripped Damian Lillard. So I didn't think that was a foul that should have been called. I thought it was the right no call made on the play. I thought it was an exceptional defensive effort on the part of Andre Iguodala and the Golden State Warriors. Although, like Steve Kerr said, they stole the game, it was a steal they deserved because of how they amped up the defensive pressure. But let's give Portland credit where credit is due. Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum have bought in. They pass the ball. They trust their teammates more. They make smarter decisions. They defend better. And they are stars. I believe Damian Lillard is first team All-NBA. I'm not saying he's better than Steph Curry. I'm saying the season that he had should be considered more valuable than the season that Steph Curry had, because Steph Curry had more help. Damian Lillard did more with less. Portland was still a number 3 seed, won 53 games. C.J. McCollum was out for significant chunks of the season. Nurkic went down near the end of the season. Enes Kanter wasn't acquired until later on in the season. There were young pieces on the squad that had to be ingratiated into the system of how Terry Stotts liked things done. And still, Damian Lillard has been that constant. He is first team All-NBA. And because he has 8 years with his team, and you recognize him for being the star that he is, because he was an all-star as well, Damian Lillard is in line to get the Supermax. And considering his commitment to Portland, that community, what he's meant to the game, he's played in 96% of his games. Did y'all know that? Damian Lillard has missed 24 games in over 7 years. Total. He doesn't miss games. He plays in 96% of the games. He's a perennial 24, 25 point per game scorer. He's an all-star. He's a leader. He's a fantastic closer. He can finish you off. Ask the Oklahoma City Thunder. Never gets in any trouble. Answers questions and deals with the media very, very well. Highly articulate in a lot of different ways. The guy is sensational. I love Damian Lillard. Last night during that run, however, he did not get it done. You got to find, you the point guard, you the star, you the man. You got to find C.J. McCollum. You have to find him. And I think he made a mistake not doing that. And I think that cost Portland. I think Portland wins game 3. Game 4 will determine whether this series is going 5 or 6 games. That was my take from last night's game, other than the fact that I can't stop raving about how proud I am of Seth Curry. To be the little brother, to step in there and to play the way he played last night. And it was beautiful to watch the cameras be on his mama and daddy the way it was. That was something special, man. And Steph Curry said it best. It was a perfect ending for him. My brother played well, and I won. He didn't win while his brother played bad. Seth Curry played a damn good game. I was real proud of him. My only criticism of Seth Curry is that I wish he had started shooting earlier, and I wish he shoots more, because he can shoot. He's a Curry. Curry's shoot. It's almost oxymoronic for a Curry not to shoot. What the hell are you doing? You don't belong on a basketball court if your last name is Curry and you don't shoot. You got to shoot the damn basketball. My only beef with Steph Curry is that you only shot the ball 9 times. If I'm Terry Stotts and I'm Portland Trailblazers staff, and by the way, let's give Terry Stotts credit because media members got on him because of how they played defense against Steph Curry in game 1. They clearly made that adjustment in game 2. They were jumping out and defending him. He just did his thing. But it wasn't for lack or a lack of schemes or anything schematically or any personnel issues. No, Steph Curry is just that great. And when he's on, and he's on right now. But make no mistake about it, Seth Curry made us proud last night. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm Stotts, I'm giving him more minutes than Evan Turner. I might be giving him some of Rodney Hood's minutes. Well, maybe I might not go that far because Rodney Hood is 6'8". So I need him out there. And Evan Turner is like a point forward that can do some things for you. So I might need him out there. But I got to have Seth Curry on the floor shooting the basketball. That's what I have to have. And you know what? Let him defend his brother. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because who knows his brother better than him? Let him defend his brother. Let him defend Steph Curry. That is the suggestion that I would make to Terry Stotts. Let's see what they got. Because you never know. Even if Steph Curry goes off, he might get away from his game just because he's going against his little brother. You never know how psychologically that could potentially work to your advantage. I'm not saying do it the whole game, but try it for a few minutes. See if it works. Seth Curry would be on the floor more, especially when they get back to Portland. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Rob, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, my brother? How are you?
Stephen
Rob,
A.
are you there?
What can you?
Come on, bro.
Yes. What can you say about the Knicks, Stephen A? Did you honestly expect anything more than what we get? Like, this team is cursed. I don't know why. I don't know what's the reason of it, but in a way, this draft was big, though. Like, if we would have gotten Zion, Knicks, they really don't. They don't keep what they draft and develop them. But even if we moved them, we could have gotten so much for them, like an Anthony Davis. And depending on if we kept them, maybe someone would want to come here to play with us. So in that sense, it was big.
Well, Rob, we still got hope. We still got hope because we still got a chance to get KD. Let's not give up on that. We still got hope, bro. Don't give up on that. Hold out hope, man. Hold out hope. It's all we got. Look, man, I'm willing to compromise myself, my own objectivity. Nobody will protect KD more than me. I will be his biggest advocate. I will not let anybody mess with this man if this man comes to the New York Knicks. We have suffered, Rob. We have been suffering. Look, man, Rob, am I lying? Don't we all need therapy as Knicks fans?
Listen,
I hired my therapist. I hired my therapist. You got yours?
I've been going through this since Patrick Ewing. That was the highlight to know that we drafted Ewing. And I love those teams. Those 90s teams, I love them. But even though I love them, they weren't great enough to get us to the next hurdle. Like y'all brothers in LA, even though y'all got a mess out there, y'all had greatness for many years.
I got you.
So
I got you. I got to run, Rob, but I just need you to answer this question before I go. Do you have a therapist? I had to get mine because I'm a Knicks fan. I hired a therapist because I'm a Knicks fan. I've suffered. Nothing makes me more depressed. Nothing makes me more depressed. So I needed help.
I tell you who my therapist is. You, Stephen A. I call and I talk to you, brother.
Got it. I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you so much, my brother. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Well, after all, I am a doctor. Witness Winston-Salem State University, my alma mater, gave me my honorary doctorate degree years ago. I am a doctor, so it does, man. Plus, I'm the love doctor. I stole it from Martin Lawrence. Get on out of here. I'm the love doctor. So I'm the love doctor. I'm an honorary doctor, and now I'm a therapist for Rob from the Bronx. I mean, damn. How can you deny it? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. If you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. Brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One. Hey. That's what we are. We family. Nobody sympathizes with us. Nobody empathizes with us. They're all laughing at us. But KD is going to save the day. He's got to. Back with more in a minute. With the Vivid Seats app, it's easy to find awesome National Football League. This is the number one sport in America. This is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And we are pulling people off of the NFL Network. Or in John Lynch's case, even though he played, but no executive experience, and I actually think he's doing a good job in San Francisco. But that's not the point. The point is, how'd you get to that position? No experience whatsoever. How'd that happen? Am I making you uncomfortable? I hope I am. I hope y'all sitting up there throwing something at the TV right now or clicking or crashing your radio. I hope you're looking at me and ready to throw something at me. I don't give a damn. This is ridiculous. Where's my call? Hell with it. I don't want the job, and I certainly don't want to take the job from Steve Mills in New York, and I wouldn't have wanted to take the job from Magic Johnson when he was there in LA. But I wouldn't have mind getting a call from the Knicks or the Lakers to be president of basketball operations. All I got to do is be on TV, right? And be pretty damn good at it. I too can be a president of operations for a professional sports team or a GM for a professional sports team. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But it's happening. And if Mike Mayock or Daniel Jeremiah are listening anywhere, my apologies. I mean to cast no aspersions upon you. You guys were great doing television. You were incredibly informed and knowledgeable. Nobody is questioning your knowledge. Nobody is questioning the job that you did on television. Nobody is questioning your competence. And I genuinely hope, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, that you both do a good job. In the event that Daniel Jeremiah ultimately gets this Jets job, which I'm not sure will happen. And of course with Mike Mayock, who's already in Oakland. And John Lynch is doing a fabulous job in San Francisco, or at least a good job. And he played the game. That's not where I'm going. I unfortunately have to use you all as examples to highlight a discrepancy and a flagrant level of unfairness when it comes to opportunities according to some that would never get accorded to others. That's what I'm doing. It's not about you personally.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Lots of stuff to get into. We'll continue talking about these conference final series. I'm in Milwaukee, site of Game 2 tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Toronto Raptors, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Last night, that was an incredible game between the Portland Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors. Game 3 is this weekend in Portland. They'll need to win that game, otherwise they'll get swept. Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight champion of the world, WBC, is fighting and to defend his title tomorrow night at the Barclays Center in New York City. And a lot of people are in an uproar over what he had to say about wanting to kill his opponent. I don't advocate it. I don't support it. But I don't think it's the big deal that people are making it out to be either. That is something I definitely plan on getting into a little bit in hour number 2 up next. Actually, Michael Thompson, Klay Thompson's father, is coming on. He's actually a big boxing fan. I'll talk to him about that too.
Wake up.
Host, The Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Smith Show here with you over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Plus, get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium gasoline. It's my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. I was going to say to y'all, let's get more into Klay Thompson and his dad, Michael Thompson, brought to you by Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. On the line with us right now, again, you heard his name. You know he's the father of Klay Thompson, but he was a champion as a player with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's a radio host at ESPN LA. He's my buddy, but also a highly, highly, highly opinionated and provocative and informed boxing fan, evidently. I'm talking about the one and only Michael Thompson, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. What's going on, man? How you doing? How's everything?
I've never been so intimidated in all my life. I played against Kareem, Bob Lanier. I played against Artis Gilmore. I played against Patrick Ewing, but I've never faced Stephen A. Smith one-on-one. So if I sound a little intimidated here, America, forgive me, because
please.
This is a whole new level.
Oh, please. I'm the one that needs to be intimidated going up against you. I know who I'm dealing with here. Before I even get into the basketball stuff with you, I couldn't believe, months ago, even a couple of years ago, when you and I were debating boxing and you was talking so much about the sport of boxing. Evidently, you got a problem with people like myself who heard what Deontay Wilder said about wanting to kill Dominic Breazeale this Saturday night at the Barclays Center. Clearly, we don't condone that level of hyperbole. But I didn't think it was a big deal at all, Michael Thompson. Why did you?
First of all, I am a big Wilder fan. I love to watch him fight, but he went too far in this one. It's any word you want to put in there. Disgraceful, distasteful, disrespectful, disgusting, and discouraging, especially to the casual boxing fan who already may think, Stephen A., that boxing is a barbaric sport. And to hear those comments come from the champion who is supposed to set the example of being a sportsman and the ambassador of the sport. It's an ignorant statement. It's stupid. Ali and Frazier, Stephen A. Smith, maybe you're too young to remember, the greatest rivalry in the history of sports, and not just in boxing, but in all sports. Those two hated each other, and they never stooped to this low level, this lowest level of trash talk. And
hold on, Michael. Didn't Ali call Joe Frazier a gorilla? And didn't he get a gorilla and put? I'm just saying, did he do that? Didn't he do that?
Yes, he insulted him, and obviously you can't do that today. That's an insult. He called Joe Frazier an Uncle Tom, insulting.
That's right.
Joe Frazier was very upset about that, but he never talked about, I want to kill Joe Frazier in the ring. You can't compare the two, Stephen A. Smith.
Well, I'm not comparing it, Michael Thompson, but what I'm saying to you is this. Could it not be an engagement in hyperbole? We're not condoning it, but I'm just saying, boxers talk. He didn't talk about doing anything illegal. He talked about this right hand putting you to sleep and what have you, right?
Yeah, we've always heard boxers say, hey, I want to knock this guy out. I have never heard a boxer say, I want to have a death on my record. Have you ever heard a boxer say that, Stephen A. Smith?
No, I have not. I will concede.
Then how do you just so casually dismiss this? What, Stephen A. Smith? Let me ask you a question, as we say in the hood.
Yes,
what if a defensive back said about a wide receiver, when I tackle this guy, I want to cripple him. I want to turn him into a quadriplegic. Would that be okay with you because that's in the moment of the game?
No. It would not be fair. It would not be good with me on a couple of reasons. Again, I'm not condoning it, just like I'm not condoning this now with Wilder. I wouldn't condone that. But also keep in mind that defensive back is hitting a defenseless receiver. When you get into the ring, that is a relatively barbaric sport. We do understand that the intent is to do bodily harm to one another. We do understand that the intent is to knock somebody out, and sometimes they engage in that level of hyperbole. We also know that factually, Deontay Wilder was actually correct because look, if you put this man to sleep and something ends up happening to him, God forbid, it's not like Deontay Wilder is going to get arrested or anything like that. As long as he does nothing illegal in the ring, we know that there's nothing going to happen. So he was actually telling the truth. I don't condone what he said, Michael Thompson. What I'm saying is, what the hell is the WBC doing talking about how we need to conduct an investigation? What the hell are you talking about? There's nothing to investigate. He said what he said. Mike Tyson once talked about hitting the tip of somebody's nose so he can push it up into their brain. Mike Tyson said this kind of stuff. So, why are we in an uproar about this? Why can't we just say it's wrong and leave it at that?
Because it's Oh, it's a big difference from saying, yeah, I want to push somebody's bone into their top of their head, or I want to knock some guy out, as opposed to I want to kill someone in the ring. I hope I have a body in the ring. How do you not see the difference?
To me, when you talk about hit somebody's nose into their brain, I'm thinking death with that too, to be quite honest with you. I really, really am. But I understand your point. I mean, when you put it the way that you put it, I have to concede, Michael Thompson, that you're absolutely right to be appalled by it. As I said, the WBC and everybody else should sit up there and say, excuse me, what the hell are you doing? We have to rebuke such words that come out of your mouth. But I really don't believe that Deontay Wilder meant that. I mean, I think he wants to knock the guy out and embarrass him, and that's about it. I mean, don't you think that this was a method for him to sell the fight? Don't you think that's what this was about?
This crossed the line. You can say, yeah, I want to destroy Dominic Breazeale. I want to knock him out. I want to make it so that he won't want to ever fight me again. I understand that. But to say, yeah, I hope I kill this guy, I mean, I don't see how America's not. And if I was the WBC, if I was the president of the WBC, I would fine him. I wouldn't suspend him, but I would definitely heavily fine him for making such a stupid statement. And like I say, I'm a fan of Deontay Wilder, but in this instance, you cross the line when you say you want to kill your opponent, and you hope you do. Okay. What's wrong with you? Are you just losing your civility?
No, I'm not losing my civility. I just think that I was of the mindset, listen, I don't believe he really meant it. I think that he's trying to engage in hyperbole to sell the fight. And I think that
I think he means it, Stephen A. I think he means it because he said, even before Dominic Breazeale, I think he said he hopes to have a body in the ring. I think he said that like 6-8 months ago, before this fight.
I'm just saying, but I think in an effort to sell fights, him being a knockout artist, I think those are the kind of things that he thinks will ultimately lead to more sales for the fight. I don't believe that Deontay Wilder legitimately wants to kill a man in the ring. I think it was hyperbole. I think when it comes to the sport of boxing or pugilistic sports, you do have people sometimes. Listen, I was at Nurmagomedov's fight against Conor McGregor, and I believe if the referee wasn't there, Nurmagomedov would still be choking Conor McGregor. I think he truly wanted to kill that man. He didn't say it, but he was far more serious than I find Deontay Wilder to be. I tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we saw the intensity in that Nurmagomedov. I can't really say his name, the Conor McGregor fight. Of course, we saw the intensity and the hatred between them, but we've seen hatred between fighters before throughout the course of the history of the UFC and, of course, boxing. And I'm a boxing historian. I know more about boxing than Max Kellerman. I always tell him that, too, by the way. And I have never heard from the time I was a little boy in the Bahamas a champion say, I hope I kill my opponent. I've never heard that.
Got you. Michael Thompson, I'm going to defer to you, my brother. Michael Thompson right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Well, who do you have winning this fight with all of that being said?
Well, the only chance Breazeale has, he's got to stay on the outside and outbox Wilder. Wilder definitely epitomizes his name or represents his name. He gets wild. He gets amateurish. His punches come in wild and crazy and out of control. Yep. If Breazeale can come straight down the middle with his jab and his straight right, he could catch Deontay, because Deontay has been caught before. He almost lost to Luis Ortiz. He was out on his feet, basically. So Deontay can be caught because he's not technically sound. He punches hard, but those punches come from wide angles. So if you go straight down the middle, you can catch him.
The only worthy opponent I've seen Breazeale go against was Anthony Joshua, and he lost that fight. So I've got concerns about whether or not he's got the skill set to beat a Deontay Wilder. Are you concerned about that?
No, I think he's a good boxer. He's a little, he doesn't punch as hard as Anthony Joshua. And, you learn from your defeat. And he said he learned. He did what he did wrong against Joshua. He did go 7 hard rounds with Joshua, who I believe is the best heavyweight of all the 3 major guys. And by the way, boxing, the other day, Max Kellerman said the heavyweight division is alive and exciting. No, it's not. These knuckleheads don't want to fight each other. Imagine you too young to remember Stephen A. Smith, but in the 70s, when I was your age, in the 50 years old back then, I remember guys like Ali Frazier, Foreman, Kenny Norton, all fighting each other.
Excuse me.
These guys in the ring.
Hold on, Michael Thompson. I'm going to have to check you now. I kind of know my boxing. Now, I don't sit up there and bloviate about it, but excuse me, I remember the days of Ron Lyle. I remember the days of Ernie Shavers. I remember the days of Ali and Frazier and all of these boys. I remember Sonny Liston. I was 2 years old when he had that second fight against Ali for crying out. I remember all of these guys. I grew up loving Larry Holmes. I remember Larry Holmes against Earl Weaver. I remember Larry Holmes against against Jerry Cooney and all of these boys. I remember Ali and Spinks and all of this other stuff. I know my boxing now, but I guess what I'm saying to you is this. And if Wilder wins this fight, who do you think he should fight next? Should it be Tyson Fury? Should it be Anthony Joshua? And if he fought Anthony Joshua, who would you pick?
Oh, I'd go Joshua. I think Joshua's the best heavyweight, and he should fight Joshua next. You know why? You know what else I'm hoping to? I hope Brazil wins, because these knuckleheads keep avoiding each other, not fighting while the fire is hot. What are they going to do, wait 5 years like he had to wait for Manny and Floyd to finally get in the ring? So Deontay's 33. He's going to fight Joshua when he's 38? I don't know. Get these guys in the ring. So I kind of hope either Joshua or him loses just to disrupt and upset the whole apple cart, because these guys are delaying getting in the ring facing each other. And one of these guys are going to get upset along the way and cost themselves about $50 to $70 million because they keep delaying these fights. What is wrong with you? You got all that. You got the power of the platform, Stephen A. Call these brothers out and make them get in the ring and face each other.
I can't call the brothers out, Michael Thompson, because it's not their fault. It's the promoter's fault. They won't make the fights.
Don't give me that. It's the fight. When you are the fighter, you are the boss. You tell your promoter, you stopping me from making $50 million? Are you crazy? Listen. Against this guy.
So many of these fighters are not, they don't control their own destiny, which is something that Floyd Money Mayweather complained about religiously. Listen, Errol Spence Jr. wanted Manny Pacquiao, but he's getting ready to fight Keith Thurman, okay? Why? That's the promoters that make that fight. We all know that we want to see Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford, but Al Heyman and Bob Arum can't get on the same page. You can't put that on the fighters, Michael Thompson.
Oh, yeah,
you know they don't have any representation. You know how this goes.
I put it on the fighter. If I was Errol Spence, I'm telling Al Heyman, you want me to fight Sean Porter for $2 million when I could go fight Terrence Crawford for $20 million? Are you nuts? I don't want to fight Porter. You make this fight with Terrence Crawford. I don't want to fight for $2 when I can make $20. What is wrong with you, Stephen? I thought you were a businessman.
I am a businessman, but I'm telling you that it's not about that. It's about their lack of control, because they may not necessarily have the business acumen of a Stephen A. Smith or a Michael Thompson. They might count the dollars, but in the same breath, they're thinking about how the promoters have control. They're getting about a third of their money, their purse, and what have you. And there's a level of control that they just don't have. They don't have representation. You've got guys like Roy Jones Jr. and others who've gone on Capitol Hill complaining about the lack of supervision over the sport and how they're at the mercy of promoters, for crying out loud. And still, after all of these years, nobody has done anything about it, Michael Thompson. What are they supposed to do?
Well, how in the world did we ever get Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard to fight each other? They had different promoters. How did that ever work out? How did Tommy Hearns and
because the promoters are willing to work together. Because the promoters are willing to work together to make it happen.
No, because if you're a man and you're a fighter, you tell your promoter, I don't want to fight that guy. I'll give up my belt. I don't care. What does this belt mean to me if I'm making $2 million a fight when I can make $60 million over the next 2 fights if I give up my belt and go fight this guy? What is wrong with you, Stephen A? Why don't you see it my way?
I do see it your way in terms of what, from an altruistic perspective, in terms of what we want to happen. I'm just saying that every time you turn around to these fighters, they're at the mercy of their promoters. That's all you ever hear. Which is, yes.
You think if, I don't know, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, those guys are fighting today under different promoters, they wouldn't face each other? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you talk to, you remember the stories about Ali and his dealings with Don King. You've heard the same from Larry Holmes and others, and you've heard on many occasions how they found themselves in unfair and unwanted predicaments because they were at the mercy of the promoters. So even back then, the promoters had some degree of control. Even when you saw those fights, you didn't always see them when you wanted to see them, Michael Thompson. That can't be escaped.
No. I remember Larry Holmes. Remember Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney?
Yes.
Remember
of course
that?
I do. Yes.
That was a fight that we had to see, and they made it happen. Wilder Joshua is the hottest fight that could be made in boxing. And for these guys to be delaying it for another 2-3 years, who knows if it'll happen? That's inexcusable for us boxing fans.
I agree with that. Michael Thompson right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. While I have you on the phone, let's face reality. As much as you know about boxing, your expertise is really in basketball. You're a champion for the Los Angeles Lakers in basketball. And obviously your son is a 3-time champion for the Golden State Warriors. What did you think about what you saw from last night's game? Watching it, what should we peel most from Golden State's victory last night over the Portland Trailblazers in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals?
Very gutsy win by the Warriors to pull that out after falling down 17 to a Blazer team that was desperate and hungry for a win. Now they got to go. So I was very pleased to see them come back and fight back and show the championship heart that they have. But when they go to Portland for these next two, now that they know they won't have Kevin Durant, they got to go up there and show what championship medal is all about again, like they did in Game 6 down in Houston. And they got to come out and Saturday send a message to the Blazers, keep the game close, because we know if that game is in single digits, either way, and close in the fourth quarter, I think the championship medal will come out again because the Warriors have that experience. Portland will feel the pressure, knowing that they fall down 0-3. The series is basically over. So the key for the Warriors is Clay and Steph have to come out, get 60 to 70 points combined again to keep up with Damian and CJ in the Motor Center, because up there, them two boys are tough in that building. So the Warriors and that Warrior bench got to keep playing great too. That's been the secret of the last 4 games for the Warriors is their bench play. Those guys have come through for them.
I'm interested in knowing from a father's perspective. Obviously, you're incredibly proud of your son, and you should be, because I think your son is one of the top 5 shooters I've ever seen in basketball. I think he's that great of a shooter, and he doesn't get the praise nearly as much as he deserves. I want to know how you personally, because sometimes parents are they judge their children harder than the average Joe out there. As a former player in the NBA, a former champion in the NBA, who's now watched your son win 3 championships, and you see the greatness that he's displayed periodically throughout his career. How do you feel about your son, Klay Thompson, as a player?
I can't say nothing about Clay. I can't say nothing to him. I can't criticize him. His career has lapped my career 10 times. It'd be like me going against Usain Bolt in 100. He could run backwards and beat me twice before I reach the finish line. Clay has been a multiple-time All-Star, 2-time gold medal winner in the World Championships and the Olympic Games, 3-time champion, 5-time All-Star. Like you said, one of the greatest shooters ever, and he's still in his prime. So what could I possibly say to Klay Thompson that he hasn't been through and has already done? So he's got the great coaching. I just tell him, just stay hungry. That's the only advice I could give him, because his career has passed mine 10 times over.
Well, the reason why I'm accusing you of being diplomatic here is because you can say whatever the hell you want because you're his daddy. So daddy always has power over, with their children, for crying out loud. And even when there's nothing to say, dads usually find something to say. How come you don't?
Because he's accomplished so much, and he's an intelligent young man, very introspective on the court and off the court. And the only advice I give him is just respect the game and stay hungry and stay humble. If he follows that advice, he'll continue to be successful throughout the rest of his career and into his post-career. So that's the only advice I can give him, man. Stay humble, stay hungry, and just keep respecting and what God has blessed you with, and do not ever take it for granted, because it ain't going to last forever.
What advice do you give him about impending free agency? Because we've talked about Kevin Durant, we've talked about Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, et cetera, et cetera. Your son is about to be a free agent as well, even though everybody and their mother believes he's staying in Golden State. And I'm not asking you to go there. That's your business. But what I am asking you is, what advice do you give him about the impending free agency?
Any advice any father or mother would give to their child in any place of employment, if you are happy with where you are at, if you are comfortable and this is where you want to be, and just stay right where you are. There's no reason to go looking for anything else if you are happy and content of where you already are at, which he definitely is. He loves the Bay Area, loves playing for the Warriors, loves their fans. You've been up there, so you know how great it is up there. It's the second greatest franchise that he could ever play for. So I tell him to stay right where he is if he's happy.
My last question to you involves the Los Angeles Lakers. You're a radio host in L.A., you obviously call games with John Ireland. You see the Lakers. You know the Lakers intimately better than most people on the planet, calling their games on a daily basis. Magic Johnson abruptly stepped away. We don't know whether it's Jeannie Buss, Linda Rambis, Kurt Rambis, Rob Pelinka, who's running whatever the case may be. Magic Johnson is making an exclusive appearance on First Take on ESPN this Monday with yours truly, along with Max Kellerman and Molly Karam. Tell me what your thoughts have been about what you've seen from the Los Angeles Lakers over the last couple of months.
Very disappointed to see Magic leave so abruptly, of course. It was great to have him be a part of the everyday operations for the Lakers. But in the meantime, now we have to move on. I think the Lakers are in a good place. We've got a lot of money to spend on a particular free agent, whoever they may be. We still got LeBron James. And if they want to continue to do it organically, they've drafted well over the last several years. They've got a number 4 pick coming up. So if they just want to be patient here in Lakerland, the Lakers are going to gradually work their way back into the title picture. It might take a little longer than we hoped, but with the young core players that they have, LeBron James, a top 4 pick, I think things are going to be fine. And next year, given good health, I think the Lakers will be a playoff team. No, we won't be a championship contender or the favorite to win the championship, but we will be a playoff team next year, a serious playoff team. If we can just keep everybody healthy, LeBron can continue to keep being LeBron, and if we sign a big-time free agent this summer, which is very possible.
Are you scared that you're going to end up empty-handed in free agency as the Lakers organization?
Of course, we got $30-something million to spend. I hope they can find someone to take their money. I would hate to see someone turn that down, whoever that might be. So yeah, because we know if we could add a top-level free agent to this core players we have and to LeBron James, the Lakers will be back. So it's imperative that we sign somebody this summer. That will get us back on the playoff track faster than if we had to wait another year.
Last question to you. Tell me about this podcast you and your son have. Klay Thompson, y'all got a podcast together when y'all been doing this? Talk to me about that.
Podcast? Who said that? Clay ain't gonna do a podcast, man.
I was just wondering. I was making sure. It's Klay and Michael. I mean, I like that. I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something.
No. When Clay gets away from Oracle Arena, when he's away from practice, he just wants to go home, veg out with Rocco, his dog. He ain't got time to be doing no extra work.
All right. I was just making sure because I read something at the top of the show. I was making sure it was some podcast, something that I wasn't missing because I definitely would tune into that. Michael Thompson, I appreciate you, man. And by the way, I'll modify my position to some degree. I'm not condoning trying to kill somebody in the ring. I just think it was hyperbole and he didn't mean it and it's boxing and that's what comes with it. That's all I was trying to say.
No. But see, the thing about Deontay, he always says he means what he says. Doesn't he? That he always says that.
Yeah, but do you really believe
that? There you
that?
go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Deontay's proven before that he goes out and destroys people. He backs it up. And for him to say, hey, I mean this. I'm not kidding around. This ain't a joking game. You got to take him seriously, Stephen A. So quit dismissing it.
I got you. I understand. I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for joining the show, buddy. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Anytime you need more boxing and basketball advice or education, call me, buddy.
You got it, buddy. You got it. You got it, my man. Right. The one and only Michael Thompson right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. That is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. You know what time it is. Got to get back to your calls and more in just a minute. Right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio. By the way, I'm here to tell you about Zelle. A quick and easy way to send and receive money right from your banking app. Not sure what to get someone for their birthday, graduation, or housewarming? Send them money with Zelle, a truly one-size-fits-all present so they can buy whatever they want. The money goes directly into their bank account, typically within minutes if they're already enrolled with Zelle, so they don't have to wait long to spend it on a perfect gift for themselves. Look for Zelle in your banking app or get more information at ZellePay.com. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm of the thought, and I'll be the first one to admit, too. I was right with you, and we talked about this on this show probably last year. I did not believe Tiger could win another major, but I believe that he could win golf tournaments. When he won the Masters in April, I'll be the first one to admit, as a guy who caddied on the PGA Tour for 10 years, when he hugged Joe LaCava and then pushed him away and yelled at him, we did it, man, tears flowed for me, man. I'm not going to lie, because I understand what it took for him and for Joe. You got to remember, Joe sat at home for 8 months with dudes calling, hey, man, come caddy for me, come caddy for me. Nah, I'm good. I'll wait for my boy. So that kind of belief in your player and then seeing Tiger breaking through. The other thing that hit me the hardest was when I was leaving the Masters, there were two brothers that was working in the media center, and they had been there for a while. And I knew them and had a relationship with these guys because I've known them for so long. And as I'm walking out, I was upstairs, and then I went downstairs to the locker room. And both guys, one was upstairs and one was downstairs, both guys looked at me and goes, yo, Mike, we did it. And I couldn't even speak to them because they put a big lump in my throat, because that's what it felt like. It felt like they said, we did it again.
But here, let me interject. But my point is that if you're holding on to that emotion, then why do you believe why do you not believe he's going to catch Jack Nicklaus?
just because I'm friends with somebody and I believe and was emotionally invested in what they were doing at the time, it would be dishonest of me not to tell the truth about.
No, I
what
understand
like.
that.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm saying because guys like Brooks Koepka are out here. Look, nothing feels better for a golfer or any athlete whatsoever. If you want to get a chance to beat a dude when he's at his best, that feels better than beating a guy when he's hurt or when he's not playing good.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Great guy, great man, great father, great colleague. Obviously a champion as a player, raised a champion as a son, and knows his boxing. Really appreciate his perspective. Look, ain't nobody condoning what Deontay Wilder said, but I just don't believe he meant it, number one. Number two, in boxing, unfortunately, it's a barbaric sport, and with no boxing fighters association, any representation whatsoever, making their money fight to fight is how they make a living. And if you got to say the most hyperbolic things or whatever the case may be to get money and generate interest in a fight, that's what you're going to do. I bet you folks will be watching Saturday night to see if Deontay Wilder does what he says he's going to do. I'll tell you this much. Watching Dominic Breazeale, I will say this. He can box and he can take a punch because Anthony Joshua hit him with several of them before taking him out in the 7th round. That was the only loss on Dominic Breazeale's career. He says he's learned from that fight. We shall see. Wilder is the Grim Reaper of the heavyweight division. He hits you with one punch, he can put you to sleep. But don't call him the Tommy Hearns of the division, because even though Tommy the Hitman Hearns was a one-punch knockout artist, Tommy Hitman Hearns could really, really box. Deontay Wilder, he's got something to prove in that department. He gets very, very wild once he gets you hurt. And when he got hurt by Ortiz, he wasn't that great at covering up. So to me, a fight with him and Anthony Joshua, which I think is what everybody wants to see, could end in one punch from Wilder to Anthony Joshua, who got dropped by Vladimir Klitschko, or Anthony Joshua could hurt Wilder and then finish him off because he has the boxing skills and the power with it to pull it off. It could go either way, which is the fight that everybody wants to see. I'm not that interested in seeing Tyson Fury because I don't think Tyson Fury could hurt Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder clearly hurt him twice, got him down, but he survived, credit to him. But Tyson Fury is more of a boxer. He doesn't really have a punch. Anthony Joshua has both. And nobody has the punch that Wilder has. So I think Wilder, we'll see if he catches Breazeale or if Breazeale catches him, can he take that punch? We'll see. By the way, you never know what never goes out of style? Surprising a friend or loved one with a buy one, get one free multicolored rose bouquet for $29.99 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Let's go back to the phones. Byron, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Check it out, champ. These things have been said before, man. Listen, Mike Tyson said, if he doesn't die, it doesn't count. He was selling the fight, bro. It's nothing of that serious nature, man. We're blowing this out of proportion. You have brothers that came up in the, say 70s, 60s, 70s. We've transformed to this era. We've conformed to this era. And it's really great. It's super sensitive. He was selling the fight, and these are things that are said just to sell a fight. Nothing more.
Well, listen, I will say this. I will say this, Byron. You know, you have to rebuke those comments as a society because it's a bit extreme, but it's not like he deserves to be punished. It's not like the WBC says they're going to launch an investigation, which I thought was utterly idiotic, made no sense whatsoever. In this day and time, however, you are absolutely right. There is a heightened level of sensitivity. And as bad as that may seem, isn't that also an indictment against our society and how there was some slippage on all of our part due to the things that we allowed folks to get away with in the years preceding this sensitive era?
But bro, you can't even be a comedian these days. Everything is just super sensitive.
I agree, but that's hold on, Byron. That's still you still didn't answer my question. I'm saying is it a byproduct of us letting too much go in the past that everybody had to turn around and go the opposite extreme just to reel us back into a middle of the road position? I'm asking.
Kind of sort of, sort of, Steve. Kind of sort of.
All right. I appreciate the call, Byron. Thanks a lot, man. Call back anytime, buddy. Thanks a lot. Let's go to Robin. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. How are you?
Hey, Stephen A. I'm good. Just a question. As a millennial, I kind of took offense to something you said the other day about Zion. Millennials already have the mindset of instant gratification. I get what I want. If I don't want what's given to me, I'm just not going to take it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you said that you think that he should, if he is drafted by the Pelicans, he should just say, I don't want to play there. And I think that that's opening a whole can of worms for even the number even the number 2, 3, 4, 5 seed.
Hold on, Robin. Robin, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Robin?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, let me answer this question. When Eli Manning did it with the Giants, nobody said anything. When Danny Ferry did it in 1989 with the Clippers, nobody said anything. When Kiki Vandeweghe did it with the Dallas Mavericks in 1980, nobody said anything. Now, literally, I don't mean literally no one said anything. Of course, there were people in those specific locales that were offended by that player's position. But the point is there has been precedent here. When Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, remember, he wasn't drafted by the Lakers. He was drafted by the Hornets, and Jerry West pulled off a heist to get him to the Los Angeles Lakers because he didn't want to be in Charlotte. He wanted to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. So these are the kind of things that happened before. Hold on, Robin. I am not saying that Zion Williamson should get drafted by the Pelicans and refuse to show up and go play for them. I'm not saying he should go back to school at Duke. I'm not saying he should go overseas and play rather than play for the Pelicans. What I'm saying is before they draft you, if you know that you don't want to play for them, what's wrong with whispering in their ear to let them know you don't want to play for them? Just in case they might sit up there and fold, particularly after what happened with Anthony Davis, and say, okay, we'll trade his rights to somebody else and get equitable compensation because we don't want another player here that's unhappy. I'm saying if you have an opportunity to pull it off without ruffling feathers along the way in a public forum, what's wrong with taking your shot at doing that to be where you want to go if you have a shot at pulling it off?
What's wrong with it, Stephen, is that it's just millennials don't think like other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a millennial myself. And if you just say, oh, you can just sit out and you can do what you want, it's a lottery. And he should just be happy to be playing in the NBA. And
I think that's very unfair. Robin,
but
I think you're very unfair. I think you're being very unfair. Again, if he refused to show up once they drafted him, I get that. I'm siding with you 1,000%. But if I know that this particular corporation, franchise, whatever, is going to pick me and I don't want to be there, if I have an opportunity in my mind to go somewhere else, I don't see the harm in me informing them that I don't want to play with you. I will if you draft me. I'm not going to shirk my responsibility to you. But before you inherit me and force that responsibility upon me, I don't feel there's anything wrong with me letting you know if I don't want to be there. I think that's wrong.
But no, because who's to say the 2, 3, 4, 5 seed can't just come out and say the same thing? Because it's been proven before.
So what if they
people
do?
Who have not gone number one.
What if they do?
It taints the whole idea of the sport.
Robin,
they should just come out of college and just say, I want to play where I want to play.
Robin, I gave you 4 examples that it's been done throughout history. I didn't hear you say anything about those people. The NBA has been just fine since those people did those things. You have other people who have forced their way out. The NBA has been just fine. The Denver Nuggets did just fine after Carmelo left. The Cleveland Cavaliers struggled, but we loved the NBA with LeBron in Miami. You get Kevin Durant. I didn't like him leaving OKC, but the NBA has been just fine. The fact of the matter is people have a right to express what they feel. Now, if they shirk their responsibility once it's before them, that is different. But to express what you want prior to that, I see absolutely no problem with it. I got to run, Robin. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much, but we just respectfully disagree. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Back with your calls to close out the show in a minute. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. If you missed any of the show today, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith Podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One. Hey, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member. This is the National Football League. This is the number one sport in America. This is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And we are pulling people off of the NFL Network. Or in John Lynch's case, even though he played, but no executive experience, and I actually think he's doing a good job in San Francisco. But that's not the point. The point is, how'd you get to that position? No experience whatsoever. How'd that happen? Am I making you uncomfortable? I hope I am. I hope y'all sitting up there throwing something at the TV right now, or clicking, or crashing your radio. I hope you're looking at me and ready to throw something at me. I don't give a damn. This is ridiculous. Where's my call? Hell with it. I don't want the job, and I certainly don't want to take the job from Steve Mills in New York, and I wouldn't have wanted to take the job from Magic Johnson when he was there in LA. But I wouldn't have mind getting a call from the Knicks or the Lakers to be president of basketball operations. All I got to do is be on TV, right? And be pretty damn good at it. I too can be a president of operations for a professional sports team, or a GM for a professional sports team. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But it's happening. And if Mike Mayock or Daniel Jeremiah are listening anywhere, my apologies. I mean to cast no aspersions upon you. You guys were great doing television. You were incredibly informed and knowledgeable. Nobody is questioning your knowledge. Nobody is questioning the job that you did on television. Nobody is questioning your competence. And I genuinely hope, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, that you both do a good job. In the event that Daniel Jeremiah ultimately gets this Jets job, which I'm not sure will happen. And of course with Mike Mayock, who's already in Oakland. And John Lynch is doing a fabulous job in San Francisco, or at least a good job. And he played the game. That's not where I'm going. I unfortunately have to use you all as examples to highlight a discrepancy and a flagrant level of unfairness when it comes to opportunities according to some that would never get accorded to others. That's what I'm doing. It's not about you personally.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
This Sunday as the Nationals host the Chicago Cubs, presented by Indeed. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, and at 7 p.m. on ESPN. By the way, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes, do you? You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. Back to the calls we go before we get on out of here for the weekend. Let's go to Stan. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Stan.
How you doing, Stephen A?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
Good. Look, hypothetical. LeBron James leaves. Go to New Orleans because Anthony Davis is still under contract. Spend the 2 years there with him, maybe win one, maybe 2 championships. They decide they want to go to L.A. What do you think about that scenario?
Who are the two going to L.A.? Who are the two?
And
Anthony
LeBron.
Davis and who else?
LeBron had landed in New Orleans when he left Cleveland because of
LeBron
Anthony
wasn't.
Davis'
Come
contract.
on, man. I don't have time for that, sir. I appreciate the
just
call.
throwing it out.
Thank you so much. I don't have time for that because LeBron James would never have considered going to New Orleans. It's a hypothetical that makes no sense because it would have never happened. He ain't trying to go to New Orleans, period. Have a nice day. Let's go to Miguel. You're live, Stephen A. What's up? Miguel, go ahead. You're live.
Hey, what's up, Stephen A?
I'm all right. You're live on the air. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Real quick, assuming it's going to be Golden State and the Bucks in the finals, do you think Golden State would, say Kevin Durant is not 100%, say maybe 50% come that time? Do you think Golden State would risk playing him, or they would just go for it? And
hell yes, they would. Golden State trying to win a championship, man. If Kevin Durant, they're going to be cautious for this series, but in the NBA Finals, they know they ain't going to beat Milwaukee without him. So the bottom line is Kevin Durant says he's healthy enough to play. You damn right they're going to take a chance and play him. There's no question. Appreciate the call. EB, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick. Go.
Hey, Stephen A. I had a quick comment. The lady Robin earlier, she commented on about the unfairness of it all.
Yes.
You spoke
yes, go
unfairness. I think it was unfair to compare someone leaving a city in free agency versus being drafted, but I do agree with your overall point. However, it also took place like in the NFL, I believe.
Eli Manning. Eli Manning
whole thing, and the NFL remained okay afterwards. So I agree with you. I just wanted to say I think it was a little unfair to compare someone leaving a free agency, even though they're a megastar, versus being drafted.
No, I was just telling her, and I was just addressing her point. Kiki Vandeweghe, Danny Ferry, Kobe Bryant, that wasn't free agency. Carmelo was, and Carmelo wasn't free agent. He was traded. He forced his way out of Denver. That's how it happened. Appreciate the call. Mike, you live with Stephen A. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Hey, yes, sir. I just wanted to ask you a question. I'm with you. I hope KD goes to New York. But I was just wondering, who do you think would be the best to go with him?
Well, in a perfect world, I appreciate the call. In a perfect world, I would tell you that Kawhi Leonard would be the best person to go to New York with KD. Kawhi Leonard or Klay Thompson. But from what we're hearing, Kawhi will either stay in Toronto or go to the Clippers, even though the Lakers have an outside shot. And in the case of Klay Thompson, he ain't thinking about leaving Golden State, and Golden State is not going to think about letting him go. As of 12:01, the night of free agency, this minute, they're allowed to. They're going to be at Klay Thompson's door, ready to offer him all the money in the world to keep him there as well. So neither one of them are going, but I would tell you those two are the best two options to go with KD to New York as opposed to Kyrie in terms of talent. But neither one of them goes. Kyrie wants to be in New York, and that's it. Holla.
This is Nelson, the volunteer who puts